Welcome to Thrive with Pride from Age Options, an online inclusive cafe for LGBT older adults and those who care for them. This is a recording of a live event from September of 2020 when we welcomed Michael Stone, Legal Director of the Center for Disability and Elder Law, to talk to us about ways to preserve housing for older adults and those with disabilities. Michael also had some time for questions and answers with our audience, which is not recorded. Please enjoy the presentation, and please help us by filling out the short anonymous survey that is below in the video description. This survey helps us talk to our funders about why programming like this matters. Thank you. And now, without further ado, Thrive with Pride from September of 2020. Good morning, and welcome to the Thrive with Pride Plenary from September of 2020. This is an online, inclusive and affirming space for LGBT older adults, caregivers, and those who care for them. We are pleased today to be welcoming Mr. Michael Stone, who is the Legal Director of the Center for Disability and Elder Law. Michael is, as Legal Director, ensures the high quality of CDEL's legal services, supervises the work of staff attorneys, interns, and volunteer attorneys, and manages the screening and placement of cases. He partners with the executive director on the development of legal strategies and also represents clients in certain matters. Michael began his legal career at the firm of Kirkland & Ellis as an associate. He later served as general counsel for the Cook County Assessor's Office and chief deputy assessor of the Cook County Assessor. He's also served as chief of staff to the Illinois State Toll Highway Authority. Prior to joining CDEL, Michael was an attorney in private practice. He has also served as keystone leader for the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation's Preservation Compact, a MacArthur Foundation and Urban Land Institute-led task force on preserving affordable housing. He was also a member of Mayor Richard M. Daley's task force on property tax reform. Michael attended Harvard University as an undergrad and earned a degree as a double major in government and economics with cum laude distinction, and he earned his Juris Doctorate from the University of Chicago Law School, and we're so glad that he has chosen to stay in Chicago. Michael will be presenting us today a little bit about CDEL's programming and especially their new housing preservation program. So Michael, I invite you to share your screen. We'll have a few slides and hear more about the program.
Okay, I'm going to start sharing now. Okay, I should be sharing. Can people see the first slide?
I can see your slides, yes.
Great, thank you. And thank you, Kate, for the introduction. I truly appreciate it. Again, I'm Michael Stone, he, him, his, the legal director of the Center for Disability and Elder Law. And I am very happy to be here to share with you the work that we're doing, particularly in this time of COVID, when the needs of so many are greater and changing. So we're very happy to assist where we can. There we go. So the Center for Disability Law is a nonprofit organization founded in 1984. That makes us about 36, 37 years old. We are a legal aid, which means that we provide free legal services to low-income seniors and persons with disabilities who either live in Cook County or have an issue that is Cook County related. We have specific outreaches that we have within the organization besides serving Cook County. So we have outreaches specifically to suburban Cook County and specific outreaches such as we target or outreach to the LGBTQ community and veterans communities as well. So we have a number of different practice areas that we do, which makes us a little unique in the legal aid community. In particular, we do a lot of estate and end-of-life planning, and often these take the form of simple documents such as power of attorneys, both for health care and for property. Living will documents or simple last wills, or a very useful tool called a transfer on death instrument, which I'm going to talk about a little bit in further detail later. We also target home ownership and other property issues, and will assist homeowners with a variety of issues that involve their property. We do simple divorces. We will also represent seniors and persons with disabilities on small matters such as collections and consumer debt disputes. And then finally, we do a lot with adult guardianship as well, for persons who have a disability. We are a small but mighty group. We have 7 attorneys or 7 staff members, but we leverage ourselves by inspiring and utilizing the volunteer attorney community, paralegals, and law students. So we are able to assist a huge number of seniors and persons with disabilities by leveraging these resources with our small staff. And so in 2019, we were able to close over 2,700 files. And that means that since some cases actually last longer than a year, we actually, our impact was actually greater than those 2,700 legal matters that we were able to resolve for seniors and persons with disabilities. So as Kate mentioned, we have a specific focus on home ownership issues and real estate matters. We tend to divide those issues into 2 sides. Landlord-tenant disputes, every issue involving either the landlord or tenant, as well as homeowner real estate issues. With respect to the landlord-tenant side, we will involve ourselves with evictions and lease disputes, including another thing that makes us unique, representing landlord on landlord side evictions. These typically are small landlords who are having a particular issue with a tenant. For example, it's often a 2-flat where the homeowner resides in one of the units and has been renting out the second unit. The landlord may be having an issue with that tenant and seek assistance with evicting that individual. On the tenant side, we will also do eviction defense. We will assist tenants hopefully at the beginning of the process. It's one of those issues where the earlier that we get involved, the more effective, the more the least cost, the better outcome we have if we are involved in an eviction defense as soon as possible. Evictions can be very disastrous to an individual. Eviction itself is a public record and can be a barrier to accessing future housing. Many landlords will scan public records to determine whether or not someone has an eviction and will automatically deny individuals who have a prior eviction. Our assistance can include both negotiating payment plans. Again, the earlier that we are involved in the process, the better the outcome, and usually the cheaper the process. Particularly in this time of COVID, evictions are currently on a moratorium. And the Illinois governor just extended the moratorium until October 17th. There's also a national moratorium sponsored by the Center for the CDC that goes until the end of the year. But what this is doing is it's really moving some of the issues to a later date. And we anticipate that there will be great need after one or all of these moratoriums end. So again, early intervention, early steps taken can allow us to negotiate and with the landlord for those who are facing eviction, and can lead to a better outcome. And then finally, if it actually comes down to it, we will represent clients in court during an eviction procedure. Other issues that we help address on the landlord-tenant side are security deposits, usually trying to get a security deposit back from the landlord. We can either negotiate that process or file an action to get that security deposit back. Conditions issues we will also address for tenants, whether it's heat, health and safety type issues, basic conditions. It's often helpful to get attorneys involved in those issues when landlords are responsive or just refusing to do anything about it. And then in general, we will take on other tenant disputes. If there are issues, we will review the issue and make a decision, but we are generally willing to take on many different varieties of issues that tenants face. On the homeowner side, we usually begin with what is called a property checkup, which we will look at a variety of issues with respect to your property and provide a summary of those of our findings. Some of those issues that we will look at is looking at the title and making sure that it is correct. We often find, particularly with seniors, and that people are living in homes where they are not on the title. They've inherited it from perhaps a family member, have remained in that home for a number of years, but have not gone through the process of actually getting their name on the title. It's important to be on the title. It can affect your ability to refinance so that necessary repairs on the property can be made. It can also affect or hamper ability to pass along the property to those who are going to inherit the property. We also sometimes find mistakes in the title that we will correct or at least clarify. In addition to title checks, we will review the property tax situation for homeowners and whether or not the property owner is claiming all the proper exemptions. There are a number of exemptions out there: homeowners, seniors, senior freeze, disability, long-term homeowners. So we will review, based on our information, what exemptions an individual property owner may be entitled to, determine if they're getting those property tax exemptions. And if they are not, we can work with the Cook County Assessor's Office to obtain what are called certificates of error, which allow us to apply the exemptions not only to the current years, but going back 3 years as well. And then just in general, doing an assessment of the property tax health, making sure it's, for example, the right property is being taxed. Finally, our property checkup usually involves determination of what the succession plan for the home is, how heirs will be inheriting the plan, and whether the documents exist to make it least painful and the greatest transfer of wealth to the next generation. So succession planning or advanced directives can take a few paths. Typical, and what most people are familiar with, is the last will and testament, We do simple wills that usually take 1 or 2 sessions for us to draft with the senior or person with disabilities, and can be a way of ensuring that the individual's desires at the end of life are met. We will also do a powers of attorney for property. These are important so that when there are issues, particularly when, for example, a senior cannot address an issue, that there is someone who is able to take those steps that are necessary to preserve a home, whether that is taking steps to ensure the proper maintenance of the home, whether it's taking those steps to ensure proper financing, refinancing, et cetera, of the home, or even in certain situations, selling of the home. Making sure that there's someone out there who is able and capable of making those or taking those steps. Powers of attorney can be drafted so that if someone is currently able to make those decisions, but they're just thinking about the future, powers of attorney can be drafted so that the individual retains the current authority until some event happens in the future. Then finally, a transfer on death instrument is a document that not a lot of individuals know about, but it is a way of transferring residential real estate without having to go through probate or using a will. It is the document that you transfer during your, or you create during your lifetime, and then record with the Cook County Recorder of Deeds. And that recording lets everyone, or puts everyone on notice that is your intent that the residential real estate transfer on death to a specific individual or individuals. And the benefit is it keeps the property out of probate. Probate can be costly and time consuming. It also can take a larger estate and shrink the size of the estate so that the remainder of the estate that would be transferred in the last will and testament can then qualify for special treatment that will speed up the probate process. It's a revocable instrument so that if you change your mind, even after you execute it and record it, you decide you want your house to go to someone else, you can revoke that determination and write a new one. It's a very useful instrument. It's cheap to do. It's only, right now it's $56 to record it with the Cook County Recorder of Deeds, and really an instrument that we believe all homeowners should have in place. So in addition to the services that we do related to home ownership, real estate, landlord, and tenant issues, we provide a number of other holistic services. We often, when we meet with a client or a potential client on a specific issue such as a home ownership issue, we often find that there are other issues that need to be addressed. So this is a list of some of the issues that we will address. It's not at all comprehensive. If there are issues that we feel that we are not able to address or don't have the expertise or resources to address, we can also often find another legal aid that will address the issue. So some of the issues that we do in the holistic services area are adult guardianships of the person. Usually the person is a person with a disability. We do powers of attorney for healthcare, important for as we age, to make sure that there is someone who can make these decisions when we are not able to, as well as provide for end of life details such as burial or cremation. As I said before, we do collections and suits, simple divorces, and any number of fraud-related issues. So that is all I wanted to cover today, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
All right, thank you, Michael. One last thing I want to make sure we capture on recording is how do people get in touch with the Center for Elder and Disability Law? What's the best way to get people in contact with you?
So everyone who comes in our office will begin with an initial pre-screen for a legal issue. And that typically begins by calling our main line, which is 312-376-1880. That number's on the first slide.
Thank you.
And then we will also in non-COVID times, we have clinics that we will accept people through that process. But right now, it's mostly through our phone line.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for watching. Again, please help us by filling out the short, anonymous survey that is linked to in the video description below. And please join us on October 27th when we'll welcome the Illinois Senior Medicare Patrol to talk about what's new in frauds and scams, an especially important topic during the pandemic. All are welcome. The program is free and there's no need to pre-register. Simply click or call in on the date and time.